My busiest week as a loan signing agent. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, guys? Victor Chambers here, back with another video. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. On this channel, I bring you inside and behind the scenes on my journey as a notary loan signing agent. So if you saw one of my last videos, I mentioned that I had a really crazy week last week. It's now the first week of February. My last week of January was absolutely bananas. Now, if you remember a couple videos ago, I talked about how January was just shaping up to be a bit of a slow month initially, and I was concerned. I was worried a bit because, you know, December I felt like I had a great month, and then going into January, I was really expecting to pick up the momentum, and I was really expecting to crush my December numbers. It would have, you know, January was my third full month in the business, so I was really looking to step it up and take things up a notch. And, you know, going into the last week of January, it wasn't looking good. And so I was worried. And I mean, I know people will say, well, you know, normally, you know, Januaries are slow. They're typically slow. And obviously I'm not aware because, you know, like I said, this is, you know, part of my first year in the business, and January is my first, you know, my third full month in the business. So I haven't seen a full cycle of what a year looks like. And then add on top of that, the fact that we're just in a crazy mortgage market. You know, refinances are absolutely insane in terms of the volume, and, you know, people buying and selling is through the roof in terms of the volume. So I was expecting January to be really hot, actually. But like I said, going into the last week of January, things were slow for me. And then I feel like right after I made that video, you know, that day and the next day, I just start seeing requests after requests after requests. And literally in a day, I filled up my entire week for the last week of January. And so then on top of that, as you guys know, I'm also a full-time licensed real estate agent. And so I have clients I'm working with on a daily basis as well, showing properties, you know, listing properties, you know, things like that. So, you know, the last week was shaping up to be a very busy week for me. And so I just kind of wanted to debrief and kind of talk about that a bit, and share some of maybe my lessons or kind of things I took from that week, and, you know, kind of how I'm thinking about, you know, the business, you know, moving forward now in February. So I'll make a caveat by saying that busy for me is busy for me. Busy for me may be different than what busy looks like for someone else. Like I said, I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm involved in many other things. I have a family, a wife, a son. So, you know, busy for me looks different than busy for other people. And so I'll share with you kind of what my week looked like in terms of the number of signings I did. But, you know, I know when I say how many signings that was, you know, there's always going to be someone that says, oh, I do that in 2 days, or I do that in 3 days. Well, that's your busy. My busy looks different considering all the other things I have on my plate. So I'll just put that out there and sit that right there, and, you know, people can say what they want to say. But anyways, jumping into my week, I'll kind of walk you through every day quickly, and kind of tell you what every day looked like. So the last Monday in January was the 25th, and that was the last day to sign. And that day was obviously just inundated with requests. I ended up doing 4 signings that day. That was 1 loan modification and 3 refinances. And they were pretty much all over the place. So not necessarily close to each other. In fact, they were all maybe 25 minutes to 30 minutes from each other. You know, starting at 11 a.m. I had my first refinance, and my last appointment was actually at 6, and that was a refinance. So if you remember one of my previous videos, I talked about the crazy signing I had, you know, with the brothers. I won't go back into that. That was kind of my middle appointment. So my first appointment was at 11. I had a 2 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 6 o'clock. I also had, before my 6 o'clock, I also had showings with a client. So between my 3 and my 6, I had a few showings with a buyer client of mine. So I was able to do, I think, 2 of those showings, and then I had someone from my team do the others. Actually, I did one of them, and then the person from my team did the others. So I was able to leverage, the fact that I have a team, a real estate team, to help me, and that way I was able to, pick up my son from school, and actually go to my last signing that evening. So that was a full day. Tuesday I had 3 signings, the 26th. So that was 2 loan modifications and 1 refinance. It wasn't that bad, pretty manageable. If you've done loan mods before, they're very easy, very straightforward. They only take 15 or 20 minutes. And then I had my refinance that afternoon. Still working with clients, dealing with, other deals I have going on in my real estate business. So still a full and busy day. Wednesday, the 27th, I had 3 signings. Those were all refinances. My first one was at 12, and my last one was at 6. So I'm just looking at my schedule, but now that I'm looking at this and thinking about it, I'm remembering now some of the stuff that happened. So I did my 12 o'clock, it was fine. Did my 3 o'clock, and interestingly, I get down in my 3 o'clock, get to the table in my 3 o'clock, and I start presenting the documents, and the closing disclosure is wrong. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Now, mind you, and I'll step back. Before I left out that day, I had all of my docs printed out for all of my signings because they were all available. So I had all my docs with me for my 12, my 3, and my 6. So fast forward, I get to my 3, sit down at that signing and present the closing disclosure, and he says, this is wrong. And so I'm like, okay. So we get the lender on the phone, and it turns out that they hadn't sent over the updated closing disclosure. So I'm at the signing, and no one wanted to reschedule, no one wanted to rebook. So the lender said, I'll send the updated package to the borrower, and the borrower was actually willing to print it. And so he printed it. Fortunately, it was this particular part of the package that was wrong, and it was probably like 75, 90 pages or so that had to be sent over. It was printed on letter. He was actually able to print it. And so I literally had to go through the signing and swap pages out from the old to the new because the amortization schedule was wrong, first payment letter was wrong, closing disclosure was wrong, the note was wrong, the mortgage was wrong. There was several documents that was wrong. So I literally had to look at the wrong one, look at the right one, and swap them. and so and I had to do this for several pages. So every bad page or old page, I had to move that to another pile, put in the right page, sign, notarize. And so that was kind of an ordeal. That one actually went relatively smoothly considering all of that stuff that happened. Now, on top of that, that means that the signing went long. My next signing, which was at 6 o'clock, which I already had docs in my car for, was about 30 minutes away. So I was going to be able to get there on time, despite the fact that I ran into issues in this particular signing. However, while I'm in the signing, I'm being told that that the docs were being there was a new set of docs available. So I had docs with me, but then a new set of docs became available while I'm in the signing. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's updated docs. I can't go all the way home to print these docs and make it to that signing. It just won't happen. I won't be able to do it. And so I actually, sitting at the table in this particular signing, I asked in this case, the signing service to reassign it. And I had to. I had no other choice because there were, it was just no way I would have been able to get through that signing where there were already issues, go all the way back home, print docs, and then go all the way back to this other signing with the new set of docs. So I just asked that it be reassigned, and it's all good. I printed docs, and that obviously sucks, because I wasted paper and toner, but that's just kind of the nature of this business sometimes. So that what would have been a 3 signing day only ended up being a 2 signing day, but one of those signings, as you can see, was quite challenging actually, with the initially the wrong docs being available, then being sent to the borrower. The borrower had to print them, and then we had to do the signing and kind of swap things out, so forth and so on. So that was Wednesday. Thursday was also 4 signings. That was 4 refinances actually. 4 refinances on Thursday. So a 9 a.m., 11:30, a 1, and a 7. And for the most part, all of those signings went smoothly. And in fact, my 1 o'clock signing, the docs weren't available actually until I left my 11:30. So I'm leaving my 11:30, docs become available. I'm talking to the borrower. We're thinking that it's going to have to be rescheduled or canceled. Docs became available. I go home, print the docs. The 1 o'clock was only 10 minutes from my house. I was able to get there, sign, got it done. So not that bad. It went pretty smoothly, besides the fact that docs were late. Again, 4 signings, but a very busy day. Going into Friday, I had 1 signing. Actually, I was supposed to have 2, but I had 1 signing. I had a 9 a.m., which was a buyer package that I went and got signed. And this was one where the settlement company wanted scanbacks within 90 minutes of the time of the appointment. I got there early, a little early, did the signing, did the scanbacks, got those in, went home, only to find out that there were documents from a part of the attorney part of the package, which were not sent over to the settlement company and to the signing service. So the settlement company called me and said, "Hey, we really need your help to go do this." So I said, "Sure, I'll take care of it." I printed the docs, went back. The borrower, the signer was expecting me, signed it. It was like 14 pages, and left, scanned it back, and that was that. However, in the midst of all of that, my 12:30 actually got canceled, and so I said, okay, well that's great, especially considering, not great, but I was okay with it, especially considering that I had to make 2 trips for my 9 o'clock, and I had to go there twice, plus 2 scanbacks. So I wasn't that bummed about that one being canceled, because I had already kind of did a lot. Then on top of that, I had to show, after all of that, I had to show a few houses to a buyer, and that wrapped up my day for Friday, and really wrapped up my week. So in total, I did 15 signings for the week. Now, like I said, I know some signing agents will say, especially those that are full-time, I do that in 2 days, or I do that in 3 days. Well, it was 5 days for me, and that's an average of 3 signings in a day, and that's a pretty full day, especially when every signing takes an hour plus travel time plus print time, all of that. But it was a busy week for me, on top of all of my other obligations, everything else I do, servicing my clients in my real estate business. It was a very busy week for me. And so, that's why Saturday, I really took a day to just rest and relax. And, even Sunday, was a busy day. And then, we just got this snowstorm over the weekend. So that kind of slowed me down a little bit. But it was very busy, in my busiest week, doing this business as a notary loan signing agent. And so I'll just kind of quickly talk about some of the lessons I learned. One of the things I learned is definitely how I want to do the business, right? And when I say that, I mean, as much as possible, I want to try to book my entire week ahead of before that week gets here. So, for example, this is the first week of February. I, for the most part, booked this entire week between the end of last week and over the weekend with requests that I saw. Now, I know that won't be a perfect system. It won't always work out. But if I can fill my calendar, and meet my own personal goal in terms of number of signings I want to do, I'm going to try to do that. Like, I'm going to try to book my week and then schedule all of my other client stuff, which is a bit more flexible, or it can be flexible, and I can work around, my set appointments for my signing agent business. I can work out my client appointments as well. And I mean, everything tends to come together, but maintaining a calendar and trying to book stuff in a certain way, that way, you can move things, more freely, and you kind of know what you're working with when you go into the week. So that's kind of one of the big takeaways. Other things I saw, which I kind of mentioned that I learned from, is that, there's always going to be issues, right? Expect late docs, expect to have wrong docs sometimes, and you'll have to make decisions to either have a signing reassigned, or, kind of bite the bullet, go reprint docs, and then go do the signing, So you kind of have to make some of these decisions on the fly, and, obviously you have to be able to handle those with poise and with ease and confidence. And that kind of leads me to another thing, is like, don't be afraid to ask for a signing to be reassigned, right? Most signing services will be super accommodating with that, especially if you can't do it, or especially if things change, or if there's issues, or docs were late, or docs were updated. Don't be afraid to ask for it to be reassigned, or work with the borrower directly to move things around. And obviously, provide good customer service, client service, to the people you're working with, and make sure that, they're having a good experience. But don't be afraid to have a signing reassigned if you just can't do it, or things happen, or things change, and it may impact your ability to get the job done. Another point is, like, to schedule smart. Be smart about how you schedule, when you schedule. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't jam and cram all your appointments together, because again, you should expect that there are going to be issues at some point, right? When I do my signings, I try to schedule them at least 2.5 hours apart. So, for example, if I have a 12 o'clock signing, then I won't try to schedule anything before 2 o'clock, or I try to schedule it by, like, for 2 o'clock or 2:30 at the earliest after that signing, right? That gives me time to actually do the first signing. If I have to drop docs or scan backs, it gives me time to do that, and then time to travel to my next appointment. And obviously that can get a little complicated, especially when we're talking about late docs or updated docs again. So try to schedule smart and be thoughtful really about how you schedule yourself. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Also, take time to eat and fuel up, drink lots of water. When you're on the go like that, it's important to make sure you have time to eat. It's like, I was so busy over last week that I would forget that I didn't eat lunch, and I felt it, and so you have to be careful. You really have to listen to your body, take care of yourself, drink lots of water, take time to eat, right? Take snacks with you, or keep water in your car, keep some chips or something in your car, a sandwich or something, pack a lunch, take it with you if you know that you're going to have a busy day, because if you're going to be on the go like that. Also, one thing I'm learning and I'm trying to do better at is planning for my drops. So when I have to drop packages off, I'm trying to I'm trying to be better at, finding like FedEx locations or UPS locations that are near the signing, so I don't have to go to the locations I always go to, which are near my house. And obviously I can go to those locations on my way home at the end of the day, but you can maybe find some efficiency with dropping your packages and dropping your docs by finding locations, UPS or FedEx, that are actually near the signing. So that way, when you do the signing, you go to the nearest FedEx or UPS to that signing, drop the docs, go to your next signing, or what have you like that. You can learn, different, hacks and efficiencies that way to help yourself and make things easier for yourself. Because again, expect the unexpected. Things can happen. You might get stuck in a signing late and miss a drop time, right? In my case, last drop at UPS is 5, I think, and last drop at FedEx is 7. So I know that I have to arrange my schedule and be able to get to FedEx locations in time enough to make those specific drops if I have a UPS package or a FedEx package. And then also, my last thing is, like, there will be cancellations, right? So you might book yourself up, but then there's obviously going to be, I mean, this was 15 signings that I did, but I had others that were canceled that I didn't even mention. So I could have been I could have been more booked. I could have took on even more, but 15 is kind of how it shook out. But there will be cancellations. You just have to be flexible. Like I said, I'll say it again. Don't be afraid to have a signing reassign if things change or if things come up. And, but in this business, you have to be flexible. You have to be able to roll with the punches. You have to expect the unexpected, because things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. So you just have to plan, right? Plan to the degree that you can plan, right? But that's kind of some of the things I've learned. I want to do this business smarter, and part of that is doing more direct business, but also, like, being smart about how I schedule myself and schedule my signings, with everything else that I have on my calendar, everything else that I have to do. So I just wanted to make this quick video to tell you about my busiest week in the business so far, and hope that you gleaned something from this or learned some lessons from my experience. On this channel, obviously I like to share these things with you guys to give you just some insight, and kind of so you can learn some of the things that you'll to expect, or some of the things that you will encounter along the way. So hope you found this useful and helpful, and obviously glad I'm able to share my journey with you. So that's it, guys. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.